Welcome to the new YouTube channel I'm creating called the Suburban Redneck. The purpose of this channel is to go out and have a little bit of fun for those of us that grew up maybe a little bit in the country but were forced to adopt the suburban lifestyle but truly miss the adventures of the redneck lifestyle. So join me for a little bit of fun with the Suburban Redneck channel.
So I'd like to welcome you to the first episode of the Saturday Shoot. I consider myself kind of the suburban redneck because I grew up in the town, but I prefer to be out in the country. And as you can tell, I like to get out and shoot a little bit. This whole purpose of this is just really about having fun. So in future episodes, we'll have some people out here. I'm really just kind of having a good time doing some shooting and just talking trash and enjoying ourselves. But for this first episode, I just kind of want to show you the range that I'm using. This is my temporary range. I'm looking at possibly moving this to a new location. We'll have to figure out where that'll be at. But anyways, as I said, I'll give you a quick view of the range. This is not about showing you new firearms or testing new firearms, although we will be doing that because I got the Tanfoglio 22 that I'm going to try out, and so I figured what better way to start out a new episode than try out a new 22 that I've purchased. But with that, let me show you the range that I've got here. So going to the range, you can see out here we've got a Texas Star. The green one is for 22 only, and then that's a 5-plate Texas Star, the green one, and then I've got a 10-plate Texas Star, which is for larger firearms such as 9mm and 45s. Going down the range here a little bit, you can see that we've got a small dueling tree, a little 4-plate dueling tree, and then that is followed by a 6-plate dueling tree. And then I have 2 silhouette targets, which again for pistol, those are AR-550 steel. And then I have a speed rack here that I've built. That's a 7-plate speed rack with 4 of the larger plates and then 3 of the smaller plates on that. And I believe those are 6-inch and then 4-inch plates on there, or maybe I think it's actually maybe 8-inch and 4-inch plates. And then going down, I've got 2 gong targets set up, a yellow and orange one. And then down here towards the end, I've got 2 more silhouette targets, and those are actually 550 steel. Those are designed for rifle, so we'll be shooting some rifle out here. And then I have a target set up for paper targets, and you can see the one behind it. I've got a second one, but unfortunately the wind caught that and broke it, so I need to repair that. So in future episodes, I'll get that fixed. It actually snapped the wood, and so I need to do some repair work on that one. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But that is the range that I'm going to be using here. The property back behind, it actually goes up in a hill, and there's nobody back there, so I don't have to worry about what's behind the range back here when I'm shooting. The property is actually owned by the neighbor, and I've talked to them, and they said, they're not too worried about it. There's nothing back there. In fact, is they have a son that also likes to shoot, and so as you can tell, my silhouette targets here and some of my other targets have been shot. I've been traveling, and right before I went on travel, I painted all the targets up fresh, and they told me he was going to be out, and I told him, tell your son to come out, bring his firearms, and enjoy himself. I'll just repaint the targets later. So, but anyways, this is the range, and this will be the range that we'll be using for the Saturday shoots. All right, so now that you've seen the range, we're going to get started and have a little bit of fun. So, like I've said, I actually went out and bought a new 22, the Tanfoglio, and apologize if I mispronounced that. It's an Italian-made firearm. This is a 22. The reason I've got it is I've actually been kind of looking for a new 22, and I'll bring out my other one at some point. I've got a Smith & Wesson 22 that I've been using for quite a while, and I really liked it. But I was looking something that was more of a full-size 22. So what I did is I bought the Force 22L. As I said, this is a new pistol. I haven't had the opportunity to take it out and shoot it yet. But the nice thing about it is, let me rack it, make sure it's clear. There's no magazine in. But the nice thing about it is a double action 22. So as you can see, as I cock it, it is a double action 22. So a little bit interesting. They sell the same pistol, but it's got a red slide on it, and the red slide is a single action 22. So we're going to be shooting the double action 22. We're going to see how this thing shoots as far as accuracy with it. It does have a threaded barrel. I do have a suppressor I could put on it, but I'm not going to put a suppressor on it. Like I said, I'm just kind of out testing this firearm, and let's see how it shoots. So let me get things set up for you, and we'll get ready to go. Before we get started, let's really quickly talk about what comes in the case. So we've got the Force 22. As I said, it's a double action pistol. It does come with 2 magazines, and of course they got the little tabs on them that you can pull down when you're loading the ammo on them. As far as the ammo I'm going to be shooting, I've got the Winchester M22. It comes with 500 rounds in a box. Yes, it's 40 grain and it's relatively cheap ammo, but I'm out here having fun, and I'm not going to spend my money on expensive ammo to come out here and have some fun. With that, I've got my eye protection. I've got some hearing protection, so I'm going to put that in. I'm going to go ahead and I'll load up 5 rounds in each magazine, and we'll take a couple of test shots and see how it is it's firing. Now, the nice thing about this is, and you can't see it here, it does have adjustable sights. So if needed to, you can adjust the rear sights up and down and left and right, which is really nice. You get the elevation and the windage adjustments on it. So with that, let me go ahead and lock the slide to the rear position, and we'll get started. All right, so I'm going ahead. I've got the target set up. I've got a silhouette target set up, and I've got a second camera closer to the target, so hopefully we can see as the shots are hitting. I've put 2 orange stickers on the targets. Just it kind of helps me give a good aim point, since I am kind of test firing this pistol to see how it works. So with that, let me put my ear pro in, and we'll take the first 5 shots. Now, what you didn't see me do, is I did put a little bit of lubrication on the pistol. As I said, it's new, and I took a little bit of the Hops number 9 oil, ran it into the pistol, and racked the slide a few times. So let's see how this thing shoots. So I've got 2 magazines of 5 rounds. So we'll hit the first one, take a break, and we'll do the second one. So I'll start with the lower circle first 5 rounds, and then the second 5 rounds I'll do the upper circle, and you can see that on the split of the camera here. All right, range is hot. All right, this does have a safety on it, so I'll take the safety off, and we will get ready to fire. Get myself situated here. I haven't warmed up, so you got to give me a little bit of a break. Try it again. All right, that was the first series of shots. I can see I got at least 1 hit. I'm a little too far away to see it. I'm at 20 yards, by the way, 60 feet. So let's go ahead, load up the next 5 rounds, and I'll go for the top target. So I think I'm going to aim a little more. I was aiming at the bottom of the target. I'm going to aim more at the center of the target and see if that helps a little bit. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Really? Well, as you can tell, I had a couple of misfires. That is the problem with cheap ammo. So I'll finish up this Saturday shoot, and I don't think I'll be using those rounds anymore. I'll try them in a rifle. Maybe they'll work a little better in the rifle, but like I said, I was getting some misfires. So we'll give it another shot. But let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the target. We'll see how it hit, and then if it's good, we'll take it over to the steel targets and have some fun. So let's take a look here. Ah, that's ugly. I said I haven't warmed up yet, so I'm using that as my excuse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm guessing this is my first series of shots. Second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looked a little better. But I'll tell you what. Let's do this again. I'll load up 5 more rounds, and we'll take another shot and see if I can't improve that a little bit. not bad for 60 feet for not warming up yet. Typically, I like to warm up with a few rounds, and then I get a little more serious about my shooting. But then again, I guess if you're in a self-defense situation, you can't tell the bad guy, let me warm up a few rounds before I shoot at you. So let me do this again. We'll get things set up, and we'll do another shoot. By the way, if you see me looking at my feet, I need to mow the lawn out here. Here in Tennessee, we got this problem called fire ants. So when the grass isn't too high, but it's high enough it's rubbing on my ankles, and I keep looking for fire ants, because if you've ever been bit by fire ants, they're not fun, and we have them all over the place down here. And if you step into a fire ant nest, it's going to take about 2 weeks for that itching to go away. So anyways, all right, let's get back to this. We're going to go ahead, we're going to do a second series of shots with this. I can tell you right now, if my son was here, he would have been yelling at me, because I teach some firearms classes, and what I teach people to do is do the drop, check, clear method. So basically, drop the magazine, check the slide, check in the chamber, make sure it's clear, and then say clear. I do it instinctually, so I'm going to do a better habit of actually saying drop, check, clear while I'm doing the videos. But I tell you this, it's important from the point of view, I tell people never count rounds. If you're going to have a negligent discharge on the range, it's most likely because you were counting rounds. You should shoot until the gun or the firearm no longer shoots, and then check to make sure, for semi-automatics, make sure that slide is to the rear. Drop the magazine, check to make sure it's clear, and then you're safe to either reload or go check the targets, as long as nobody else is at the range shooting either. Since I'm out here by myself, I don't have to worry about that. Of course, if you're using a revolver, it's a little bit different. You'd open up the cylinder and remove the rounds or the spent casings from the cylinder. But all right, so let's go ahead. Let's get at this. I had 1 hit on the lower target and 2 at the top. So I'm going to take my time a little bit and see if I can't improve upon that. Again, we're still at 20 yards. I've got the second camera set up, so you should be able to see it in split screen. And hopefully I'll do a little better this time. So I say I got to warm the pistol up, so I'm going to blame it on the pistol not getting warmed up. Plus, it still needs to be broke in, so it's not me. It's obviously it's the pistol not being warmed up and not being broke in. All right, so let's get going again. All right, do a drop, a check, it's clear. So I'm going to swap out my magazine and go for the upper. And I don't think I did any better on that. Let me pull this real quick. I just want to make sure. Yep, all right. We didn't have anything low. That's why, again, I wanted to double check it. Let me go ahead and get that in. Range is hot. All right, let's see if I can improve upon my 2. I don't think I improved upon my lower one. I think I got 1 more hit on it from what I can see. Drop that. I have a misfire in there. Rack that slide back. Ooh. I will take that back. That's what I get for counting rounds. The slide dropped on that last round after it shot it. So the chamber is empty. We're clear. Let's go down. Let's see how we did. All right. Yeah, that's pretty ugly. Looks like I added 1 more to the lower and only 1 more to the top. So, but it does look like my shot grip is tightened up here. It's on the lower end, so I'm going to aim towards the top of the target. I'm going to assume probably similar here. I haven't taped off these hits, but it looks like I'm kind of hitting low just a little bit to the left, and again a little bit low to the left here. I'm going to take a pause. Like I said, these are adjustable sights. I'm going to adjust them just a little bit. Bring it up probably 3 clicks and probably over 3 clicks with that, and see if I can't bring that on. Although I'm kind of tempted not to, because no, I will. I'll bring it over a couple of clicks and definitely bring it to the left a couple of clicks and bring it up. I'll bring it up 3 clicks. Just I'm kind of guesstimating this, and we'll see how it goes. One thing again, like I said, it's nice that these have adjustable sights. I know that they do factory set sights, but I have found that those are not always perfect. So when you have the opportunity, if you've got adjustable sights, it is good to, again, sight them in and shoot them. Typically, I do this on a table, and I'll do kind of a bench rest position to sight in a target, so I get a little more accuracy on it. But I'm going to go ahead and just do a couple minor adjustments to this. We'll see how it does. But like I said, it's not uncommon for out of the factory for sights to be off a little bit. It's usually not a great deal, but I found it, and it doesn't matter the manufacturer. I've found it on different manufacturers. So the only time I found the sights to be perfectly spot on is if the firearm has been test fired from the factory, and so that's the only time I've found them to be really spot on. Anyways, all right, let me make some adjustments here, and we'll do another series of shots, and then we'll go over to the steel targets and have some fun. All right, I've made some adjustments on the sights. I decided to go left 4, up 3. Hopefully I haven't overcorrected, but we'll do the same thing again. We'll shoot the lower target, and then we'll shoot the upper target, and we'll see if the adjustments have made a difference. So range is hot. Safety was on. All right. That's why I typically don't like pistols with safeties, because they tend to get flipped on, but that's okay. Let's take this. All right. Drop. Let me check that. We're clear. All right. I've got at least 1 hit, maybe 2. So let me hit that upper target, and we'll see how we do on that. So before we had 3 hits on it, let's see if I can add a couple additional holes to that target. So range is hot. Hey, I did count the rounds. Shame on me. But so drop, check, it's clear. That looks a lot better. I can see the additional holes already on it. So let's go down there. Let's take a look at it. Let's see how we did. Oh, much better looking. Again, I don't remember exactly where my shots were at, but as I said, I had 3 in here, so I've added at least 3 additional shots to it. Take a look at the video. We can see where the other hits are. And I think I remember right, I had 2 down here, and I've added 3 additional to that. So not perfect, but again, I'd want to run a couple hundred more rounds through this pistol. As I said, I just have this thing about making sure the barrel is broken, make sure the pistol's broken really good, and then I'd come back out here and do kind of a resighting on the pistol. Whether it really makes any difference or not, I'm not sure, but to me, I think just getting the pistol broken, getting the slide broken, and all that stuff is probably useful. So we've done this. Let's move over to the steel targets and shoot some steel targets, and let's get some stuff ringing. All right, let's have some fun. Let's shoot some steel. I've got the second camera set up on the targets. We're going to stay at about 20 yards here. Again, I apologize. I'm feeling the grass hit my ankles, and I'm looking for the fire ants. I don't see any fire ant hills here, but that being said, that doesn't mean it's not hidden by the grass. So let me get lined up here at the targets. Again, we're roughly still probably at about 20 yards, maybe 19, 21, give or take, but that's fine. Let's see how we do. Well, I'll start out with the orange target. Like I said, my neighbor's son was out here shooting, so I'll probably be able to tell where I'm hitting, because it's going to be a much smaller hit pattern, because he looks like he was probably using a 9mm or 45, or maybe even something larger. But and I didn't bother repainting the targets. That's on me. So anyways, let's go. Range is hot. Safety again. All right, drop, check, clear. Wasn't sure if the first round hit, but I know the other 6 hit because I heard the ringing definitely. Let's do 7 more rounds. All right, drop, check, clear. All right. Again, I'm not sure about that first round. I'm pretty sure I hit it, but we can check the camera and or see if I'm pretty sure I hit it. Pistol shoots really nice. I'm going to load up a couple more rounds. We're going to have a little more fun. In fact, I'll tell you what. I'll do one more series on the silhouette, and then we'll give myself a try on the Texas Star. See how I'm shooting on the Texas Star. Now, if you haven't shot steel before, check with the manufacturer on what the distance needs to be. Most people will say 7 to 10 yards. 7 yards being 21 feet to 30 feet. The reason for it is I'd say at least that 20 feet, 21 feet, because especially for larger rounds, 22, you can stay around that 7-yard mark. But when the round hits, you're going to get some splatter and potentially could come back towards you. Most steel targets are actually angled a little bit, so if it does splatter, it'll come towards the ground. But again, if you're too close to it, if you're within 10, 12 feet, you're probably going to catch some of that splatter. So again, it's good to be back at least 7 yards, 21 feet, give or take a little bit. But you can't beat shooting steel. You get that nice ring. You automatically know when you hit the target. And I will get out later with rifle and shoot rifle, and I actually have a lighting system that goes on the rifle targets that when you shoot them, it'll blink. Because again, if you're back 200 or 300 yards, you may not hear the ring of the target. Fortunately, this range I'm at now, the best I can get is 200 yards. But if I'm going to be shooting 200 yards, I'll probably be shooting either 22 LR or 22 Win Mag. Actually, I do have a bolt action 223. I need to come out and zero that scope in. So maybe one of these days I'll bring that out and zero that in at 100 yards and then take it out to 200 and zero it in. So, all right, let me load up and we'll take a couple more shots and have a little bit more fun. This time I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit. Again, I'm shooting at 20 yards. New pistol. If I miss, I'm blaming it on the pistol. It's not the shooter, of course, right? It could never be me. So, all right, let me load this up. Range is hot. Make sure my safety's off. Let's go. Oh, dropped it. Check clear. All right, let me change my magazines out. I'm picking up the speed a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. Drop, check, clear. It said it had a little bit of a misfire in there. Nice thing about the double action with the hammer is I can cock that hammer back and take another shot at it. So that's a positive part of the thing that I really like about this pistol. As far as the shooting, it's very smooth. Again, 22, not a lot of recoil. Imagine if I put a suppressor on here, it would be, maybe I'll do that. Maybe a little bit later, another episode, I'll put a suppressor on this and we'll shoot it with a suppressor on it. Because I suspect this thing will be just baby quiet with a suppressor on it. But the nice thing is, because it's a full-size pistol, it's a good training pistol as far as the way I feel right now. It's got a good weight to it. And I think it's a pistol I'm going to enjoy shooting. Now I'm going to bring out, I've got the Smith & Wesson 22, and I've got 2 different ones. I've got the, I guess it's kind of a semi-compact. I'm not sure what the barrel length is. I think it's like 3 1/4 or 3.5 inch. I'll find out for sure. But then I have it's a more of a full-size Smith & Wesson 22. I think it had a 4-inch barrel on it, and they only released it for a few years, and I'd happened to get a hold of one, not knowing that they weren't going to produce them for very long. And I did some sight changes on that. I changed out the sights to a fiber optic sight. Honestly, that'd be my only complaint about this pistol is it's nice to have fiber optic sights because you're shooting black on black here. but again, it shoots very well. It's a very smooth shooting pistol. Feels really good in your hand. Again, I don't know. I guess what should I expect from the Italians, right? The Italian engineering. But no, it is. It is a great pistol, and it shoots well. So we're gonna move over to the Texas Star, and we're gonna take a couple of tries at the Texas Star. What I'll do is I'll load 7 rounds up. We'll see if I can get the 5 plates off in less than 7 rounds. If not, I'll have to drop another magazine into it and finish it off. But we'll see how it shoots. Again, so far my first thoughts are it's a nice pistol, and I can't complain about it. It potentially could become my favorite 22 pistol for shooting. All right, we're gonna shoot this Texas Star. Um, Again, checking really quickly for fire ants. I don't see any fire ant hills here, and I'm gonna try to get me a spot where I don't have things poking my ankles or my calves. I promise I'll get out here and I'll mow it before I do the next Saturday shoot, so you won't see me looking down at my feet looking for fire ants. Let's go ahead. Let's get it loaded up. I got 7 rounds in one mag, a second magazine with 7 rounds. Hopefully, I can take care of all 5 with one magazine, 5 rounds. So I get 2 misses. All right, let's see. Wish me luck. I got lucky. All right, I've got the Texas Star set up one more time. We'll see if I can't improve on it. I guess what does that mean? I've got to get five targets and 3 shots. That would be kind of amazing, but we'll see if I can do at least again take all 5 targets out within 7 rounds. My goal is 5 for 5, but we'll see. All right, we're live. Ah, it's hanging. There it goes. All right. So 6 out of 7. Not bad. I'll tell you what my mistake was. Is I was going for a different target. I changed my mind, and because that's my fault, not the pistol. It was on me. But as you see, it's a pretty accurate pistol with those sight adjustments on it for me. So again, I'm pretty happy with it.
This will end the first episode of the Suburban Redneck Saturday Shoot. I encourage you to get out, practice with your firearms, and exercise your Second Amendment rights.